Good morning, friends. Prepared Suburbanite back at you. Today is October 29th, and we've almost made it through the entire month of October, and it's my, I guess, favorite month of the year because it's truly fall right now, and we're starting to get, here in North Carolina, we're at near peak on the fall colors. While not as vibrant this year as they have been, but it's a wonderful thing that we don't have to put up with all the heat and humidity of a typical North Carolina summer. Hey, got a question for you. Are you a creature of habit? Well, I think I am. And I'm going to explain some of the things that I've been thinking about and doing a little bit of research on about being so fully driven by our habits. And it's got a lot to do with operational security and the security of your homestead. So stick around. So if you were a burglar, a home invader, what would be some of the steps that you'd be thinking about, some of the surveillance that you'd want to be doing on a particular residence that you think would be a great target? Well, here's some of the things, and you gotta think like the bad guy does here. One of the things that would be top on my list would be to make sure that when I break into the house to do whatever I'm going to do, steal stuff, burgle, whatever, that I want to make sure that the home is not occupied when I do that. So I may be doing some surveillance outside that property if I'm the bad guy and I'm casing the joint, using an old expression. I'd be particularly interested in what time the folks that live in the house get up in the morning and leave to go to work, and see if there's a pattern for that. Generally speaking, and I remember when I was working, I left the house at pretty much exactly the same time every single weekday anyway. And coming home might be a little bit different, but I'd leave the house on a regular basis at about 7:15 every morning. That gave me enough time to fight the traffic to get to wherever I was going. And that's one of those things that a savvy burglar is going to pay very close attention to. He's going to know what time you leave to go to work. He's going to know what time your wife leaves to go to work if she does. Or he's going to pay attention to some of the other habits that you've got. Like, what time do you walk the dog? If you're home during the day, you're retired like me and you got basically no place to go, there are certain times of the day that you're most likely to go for a walk the dog, take a trip to the gym for a workout, that kind of a thing. And it's going to be pretty much on a regular basis, depending on the individual needs and circumstances around that house. But you're going to have a habit there of doing stuff like walking the dog or taking a walk or getting your exercise at approximately the same time every day. And the bad guy's going to remember that. He's going to actually probably write it down to know that between 10 and 10:45 you're walking the dog, or you're out on your morning jog, or you've taken the trip to the local gym and your house is not occupied for that 40 or 45 minutes. Do you eat your meals at the same time? We do pretty much. We eat breakfast about an hour after we wake up, and that's part of the routine. So when that burglar sees you sees the lights pop on in the kitchen, he knows that you're going to be eating breakfast in about an hour and that you're going to be leaving for work shortly thereafter. And in my case, it would have been around 7:15. In my wife's case, she would have to leave a lot earlier because she had to be there at 7. So she would be leaving the house at like 6:15 or so. But once I left, the house was empty. So meal times can be a trigger for what time is appropriate or advantageous for the burglar to enter your home. Do you go shopping at the same time pretty much every day, or pick a day of the week? If it's your payday, it's Thursday or Friday, whatever your payday is that the day you take the trip to the grocery store? You and the wife take off at say 2 in the afternoon and you're gone for an hour and a half? Yeah, that burglar is going to pay attention to that too. And he's going to know that on Thursdays or Fridays that your house is going to be vacant for an hour and a half on that Thursday afternoon or that Friday morning, or whatever your habit really is. Do you go to church on Sunday, or on the Sabbath, I guess, if you're Jewish, or if you're a Seventh-day Adventist and you do your services on the Sabbath? Do you leave to go to services at the same time? We certainly have. We catch the 9 o'clock service at our local church every Sunday. That's what we do. But they offer 2 services, one at 9 and one at 11. So would it be advantageous to trip up your potential house burglar to mix that up a little bit? That's what this is all about. Your habits, you become a creature of your habits. You rise at the same time, you go to bed at the same time, you go to work at the same time, you walk the dog pretty much at the same time, and all those are very predictable activities if your house is being cased by a bad guy. I've said before in previous videos that the occurrences of house break-ins, of vandalism around properties is on the increase, and it is right here in my neck of the woods. It's becoming very more frequent. It's not an everyday occurrence, but pretty much I'm hearing from neighbors, or I'm seeing on the Nextdoor app, that somebody was casing somebody's house out, that they broke into their car, they slashed tires, they did dastardly things. There's been home invasions, there's been broken windows, all kinds of stuff. Halloween decorations are a target, I think, for some of the vandals around. But when do they do that stuff? They do it when they think they can get away with it, and that's the trick. And if they've been casing your particular property to do some dastardly deeds like breaking and entering, or a home invasion kind of a thing, you need to make sure that you are not a creature of habit. So let's say you go to work at 7:15 every day. Maybe you should leave at 7. Drive out, drive for 10 minutes, circle back around and pass by your house again. Pull up in the driveway. See if anything has changed. See if there's a car somewhere casing your joint, and make sure that you're taking notes, getting license plate numbers and make and model and of the vehicles that you suspect may be up to no good in your neighborhood. So vary your habits. When when you do go to work, either go early, go later. Try to upset that routine so that you keep the burglars off guard. And a couple of other thoughts. Oftentimes, the burglars will use the nighttime hours to make their presence known. So because it's dark, they put on the hoodie, they cover their face, they can walk by your security cameras and you won't be able to recognize who they are. But I would suggest that by every entrance way that you've got, in your front door, your back door, your side doors, your patio deck doors, your garage doors, where anybody can make an entrance into your house just by opening the door, busting the lock or whatever, make sure that you plant a good flashlight at each one of those points of entry so that you can get to it right away. I've read stories about folks that hear the glass break and they're in the other room, or they're upstairs in their bed or whatever, and they come down the steps in the dark and they proceed to go look for a flashlight. That's the first thing they do. Well, if you've got a flashlight in some convenient places, at your bedroom door, at the front door, at the back door, at your garage doors, then you've got a flashlight right there when you need it. If you want to make sure that you can be a step ahead of that burglar, shine that flashlight in his face and see what happens. He'll generally run away. So we'll have to see how that works out. But I would suggest that you pick up a couple of extra decent, good flashlights and position them around your property. The other thing that does come in handy is having a home security system. We decided to go with Wyze around here. I've got an app on my phone that allows me to activate and look at any camera at will wherever I am, and I can tell what's going on. I get alerts if there's action or activity or motion at my front door, at my back door, around my garage entranceways. So I think they're a worthwhile investment, and you can spend as much money as you can afford on making sure that your home security system is working. I also use game cameras around the perimeter of my property so that I can make sure that I see anything that's unusual or weird. Generally, they're picking up the wildlife activity in the nearby woods as they walk through my backyard. I see deer, I see foxes, I see raccoons, possums, and deer like crazy, squirrels like crazy. So it becomes a matter of enjoyment as well. The game cameras that I use are from Browning. They're relatively inexpensive. I've had them now for a number of years, and they're almost foolproof. You just got to keep the batteries up to snuff, change them when they need to be changed, keep them up to date. But I would, in fact, I'm going to pick up a couple more and put them in strategic places around the front of my property. I've got them out in the back, and I've got them in these woods here behind us. But out front, yeah, I think I'm going to need to, I'm going to want to put a couple extras of those game cameras out there. So just in case, I've got an extra eye in the sky there. The other thing that, like I said, we're picking up all kinds of wildlife, and I'll clip on some recent videos of our local wildlife here at the end of this video. This is the Prepared Suburbanite reminding you to be prepared always, and make sure your OPSEC is up to date, and make sure that you're not a creature of habit. I'll see you all on the next video.